The Nardelli-Hawking Renormalization, a unified theory of the golden singularity through Bosonic-Photonic closed time curves, CTCs, and black hole evaporation dynamics.
Autor, Michele Nardelli.
Affiliations, studied at Department of Earth Sciences, University of Naples Federico II, Department of Mathematics and Applications, Cacciapoli, University of Naples Federico II. Abstract. This paper presents the definitive integration of black hole thermodynamics within the TOE equation, theory of everything, of Nardelli's seventh root. By replacing the time variable, T, with the Hawking temperature, myescala T petis myescala H, we show that the primordial singularity operates as a bosonic photon closed time curve, CTC, governed by a self-correcting holographic algorithm. This model derives modular symmetry 1728 and holographic constant 4096 as stable eigenvalues, proving that CTC-mediated information retrieval supports the attractor of the renormalized golden mean, phi petis myescala G myescala N. The model provides a mathematically coherent bridge between gravitational decay, quantum information, and geometry based on the golden ratio of the cosmos. 1. Introduction. Contemporary theoretical physics is confronted with the monumental challenge of unifying black hole thermodynamics, quantum gravity, and information theory into a single conceptual framework. The development of a mathematical framework capable of describing the primordial singularity in a coherent and predictive way represents a fundamental strategic step towards a theory of everything. Without such a model, our understanding of the origins of the universe remains fragmented, divided between general relativity that describes the macrocosm and the quantum mechanics that govern the microcosm. The fundamental objective of this article is to demonstrate the integration of Stephen Hawking's pioneering work on the thermodynamics of black holes within Nardelli's seventh root theory of everything, TOE, equation. The central thesis is that this unification is not a simple addition, but a transformative revelation. It demonstrates that the renormalized golden mean, phi petis myescala G myescala N, is the fundamental attractor of a self-referential geometric algorithm that describes the universe. This process reveals that physical constants and fundamental symmetries are not arbitrary, but emerge as stable solutions of a dynamic, informational system. In the following paragraphs, we will present the basic mathematical framework that forms the foundation of this theory, before exploring the profound implications of its evolution. 2. The mathematical framework, the TOE equation of Nardelli's seventh root. Before introducing the changes proposed by this research, it is essential to establish the fundamental equation that serves as a starting point. Nardelli's seventh root TOE equation is a mathematical model designed to unify different aspects of physics, from the geometry of spacetime to quantum mechanics, through a structure that inherently ties physics to fundamental mathematical constants. The equation in its original form is as follows. Within this complex architecture, each component has a precise role. The oscillatory term sino aperta tanda 2 pi greco t \frato 13, cosa tanda can be interpreted as the intrinsic breathing rate of the quantum vacuum, a cosmic synchronization mechanism. The phi petis myescala G myescala N parameter, the renormalized golden ratio, is not simply a constant, but acts as a geometric attractor, a stable point of convergence towards which the entire dynamics of the system evolve. The static nature of this equation is mainly encoded in the denominator regularization term, 256 pi ct. The crucial modification we will explore now, the replacement of the linear time variable t within this specific term with the Hawking temperature, will transform this model, connecting it to the fundamental dynamic and thermodynamic processes of the singularity. 3. Integration of black hole thermodynamics. The key conceptual step of this work lies in the replacement of the linear time variable, T, with a fundamental thermodynamic parameter of a black hole, its temperature. This move is not purely formal, it links the static geometry of the TOE to the physical dynamics of the singularity, anchoring the theory to the processes of evaporation and information decay described by Hawking. In this way, time ceases to be a passive coordinate to become a function of the thermodynamic state of the singularity itself.
3.1 Hawking Temperature Replacement. Corsivo grassetto maiuscola T pedice e corsivo grassetto maiuscola H.
The fundamental mathematical substitution we propose is as follows.
T maiuscola T pedice maiuscola H uguale a numeratore, C al cubo termina numeratore, fratto denominatore, 8 pi greco maiuscola G maiuscola MK pedice maiuscola B, termina denominatore.
This transition has profound physical implications, which redefine the stability and informational nature of the theory. Thermodynamic stability. The stability of the theory is no longer solely temporal, but is anchored to the thermal equilibrium of the initial singularity. As the singularity cools through Hawking evaporation, the system naturally gravitates toward the stable attractor of the renormalized golden mean, phi petis maiuscula G maiuscula n. Information filtering. The 4096 split in this context, a value, 4096, emerges, which acts as a holographic threshold. This split 4096 governs how the high-energy information emitted by the Hawking horizon organizes itself into structured matter and geometry, instead of dissipating into chaotic entropy. The golden limit of evaporation. Through this substitution, we show that the final state of Hawking radiation is not chaotic, but geometrically ordered. The evaporation process does not destroy the information, but crystallizes it according to an order dictated by the golden attractor. 3.2 Derivation of Modular Symmetry 1728. The introduction of the Hawking temperature transforms the original regularization term, 256 pi Greco alla ottavo, CT, into 256 pi Greco alla ottavo, C operator asterisco aperta tanda HCl subwa, Chusatanda, aperta tanda 8 pi Greco maiuscula G maiuscula MK petis maiuscula B, Chusatanda. Following an algebraic simplification, this expression produces a new term that links the fundamental constants of nature, which we define as corsivo maiuscula or petis corsivo maiuscula H corsivo A, corsivo W corsivo K corsivo I, corsivo N corsivo G uguale aperta tanda 32 pi Greco alla settimo, C alla quarto, Chusatanda. Aperta tanda maiuscula G maiuscula MK petis maiuscula B, Chusatanda. The final and most significant step is to align this result with the underlying modular symmetry of the theory, applying a scale factor of 54 aperta tanda 2 volti 3 L subwa, Chusatanda. The number 1728, a value of profound significance in the theory of modular forms, is not accidental. To maintain the global gauge invariance of the equation, the introduction of the factor
This leads to the refined term corsivo maiuscola R pedice corsivo maiuscola R corsivo e corsivo F corsivo I. Corsivo N corsivo e corsivo D uguale a aperta tonda 1728 pi greco alla settimo, C alla quarto, chiusa tonda, aperta tonda maiuscola G maiuscola MK pedice maiuscola B, chiusa tonda.
The physical meaning of the term corsivo maiuscula or petis corsivo maiuscula or corsivo E corsivo F corsivo I, corsivo N corsivo E corsivo D is remarkable. The presence of C alla quarto maiuscula G explicitly links it to the Planck force, the maximum tension that the fabric of spacetime can sustain. The coefficient 32 pi Greco alla settimo suggests a 7-dimensional hyperspherical geometry, consistent with the 7th root structure of the equation. The emergence of the number 1728, a value of profound significance in the theory of modular forms, is not accidental. To maintain the global gauge invariance of the equation, the introduction of the factor 54 in the denominator requires a balancing operation. According to the equilibrium principle of the theory, the left member, phi petis maiuscula G maiuscula N, must be multiplied by an inverse normalization factor, 1 radis 7d54. This operation ensures that the equation remains internally consistent, showing that the appearance of modular symmetry 1728 is an intrinsic property and not an artifice. This derivation demonstrates how the framework, once made thermodynamically dynamic, reveals the emergence of fundamental mathematical constants, which are key to understanding its deeper architecture. 4. Emerging eigenvalues, the fundamental constants of the universe. The integration of Hawking thermodynamics not only gives dynamic stability to the theory, but also brings out stable numerical eigenvalues with deep connections to number theory and the holographic principle. While 1728 symmetry emerges directly from thermodynamic integration, the framework also possesses a complementary holographic structure from which another key constant, 4096, can be derived. This shows that the framework is not merely descriptive, but also predictive, revealing that the architecture of the universe is built on non-arbitrary mathematical constants. 4.1 Ramanujan's threshold and symmetry 1728. The appearance of the coefficient 1728 is a result of considerable importance. In number theory, 1729 is the famous Hardy-Ramanujan constant. The interpretation of the emerged value, 1728, as 1729 to 1, suggests a profound relationship. The physical universe, 1728, manifests itself as a stabilized projection of a pure mathematical ideal, 1729. This result links Planck's force, which governs the tension of spacetime, to the theory of modular forms, where 1728 plays a central role as a value linked to the invariant J. 4.2 The holographic constant 4096. The framework also allows for the definitive canonical derivation of the holographic constant 4096. This constant, which corresponds to 2 ala 12, represents a fundamental information capacity. Its derivation is as follows.
4096 uguale aperta quadra aperta seconda tonda un fratto 27. Chiusa seconda tonda punto 32 punto aperta seconda tonda Φ pedice maiuscola G maiuscola N fratto denominatore. Maiuscola K e R N e L al 1 barra inversa fratto 7 termina apice. Termina denominatore. Chiusa seconda tonda alla settimo. Chiusa quadra al quadrato.
The logic of this configuration reveals a multi-stage process. The modulator 32 aperta tonda 2 alla quinto, chiusa tonda scales geometry based on 5-dimensional holographic degrees of freedom. The cubic normalization, 1/27 or 1/3 L subwa, adapts this result to 3-dimensional space. The final holographic square maps the resulting interaction onto the 2-dimensional surface of the event horizon, producing the 4096 holographic bits. 4.3 The identity of the grand unification. The culmination of this mathematical framework is an identity that unifies these two emerging eigenvalues, leading them back to the primary geometric attractor of the universe.
The calculation is as follows: aperta tonda 1728 più 4096, chiusa tonda alla 1 barra inversa fratto 18 termina apice uguale a aperta tonda 5824, chiusa tonda alla 1 barra inversa fratto 18 termina apice quasi uguale a 1.6187469 puntini.
This result corresponds precisely to the value of the renormalized golden ratio aperta tonda grassetto phi pedis corsivo grassetto maiuscola G corsivo grassetto maiuscola N, chiusa tonda. The meaning of this identity is profound. The sum 1728 plus 4096 represents the unified energy of the manifested universe, understood as the union of the modular law, 1728, and the holographic capacity, 4096. The 18th root acts as a dimensionally reduction mechanism, an operator that condenses the high-dimensional complexity of the system, tied to fundamental symmetries, back into the one-dimensional attractor phi pedis maiuscola G maiuscola N. The emergence of these constants is not a mathematical artifice, but the support for a radical physical interpretation of the nature of the singularity itself. 5. A physical interpretation, the singularity as a self-consistent closed time curve, CTC. The mathematical results presented so far converge towards a central hypothesis. The primordial singularity is not a point of linear expansion from a past to a future, but a Bosonic-Photonic closed time curve, CTC. It is important to specify that the concept of CTC is here understood in an informational and thermodynamic sense, describing a self-consistent loop of energy and information, rather than a violation of macroscopic causality. The primordial state is described as a superfluid of bosons and photons, where energy and information circulate in a cycle with no beginning or end. This loop allows for a cosmic bootstrapping, a process in which the geometric laws of the future, embodied by phi petis G inform and stabilize the initial conditions of the past. The universe, in this model, is born already consistent with its final laws. The identity of the grand unification, apert tanda 1728 pu 4096, Chusatanda alla, 1 / 18 termina apis quasi yuguela phi petis G n, can be interpreted as the CTC invariance condition. Its components take on precise roles within the loop. 1728, modular engine represents the geometric curvature of the loop, the mathematical structure that defines its path. 4096, holographic bit stream represents the density of information that passes through the loop, the ability of the system to contain and process information. Grassetto phi petis Grassetto G Grassetto n, golden attraction acts as the tuning frequency that ensures the stability of the loop. It is the resonance condition that prevents paradoxes and ensures that the system converges towards a stable and self-consistent solution. This CTC model redefines Hawking radiation. This is not a loss of information, but the mechanism by which the CTC cools and crystallizes in the manifest dimensions of spacetime, leading to the physical reality we observe. 6. Conclusion. In this paper we have shown that the Nardelli-Hawking framework successfully unifies black hole thermodynamics, fundamental geometry, and quantum information theory. By replacing linear time with the Hawking temperature, we transformed a static model into a dynamical system that reveals the emergence of universal constants, the modular symmetry 1728 and the holographic constant 4096 as its natural eigenvalues. The main conclusion is that the universe is a self-referential geometric algorithm maintained by Bosonic-Photonic closed time curves, CTCs. Hawking's evaporation is not a process of dissolution, but the mechanism of information retrieval that allows the singularity to crystallize into manifest reality. The final identity, apert tanda 1728 pu 4096, Chusatanda alla, 1 / 18 termina apis quasi yuguela phi petis G n, demonstrates that the renormalized golden mean is both the origin and destination of this cosmic cycle. Ultimately, alpha, the beginning, and omega, the end, are unified in a harmonic cycle of golden proportions, where the 1729 resonance acts as the final gateway to the unified field. Acknowledgements. We thank Professor Augusto Sagnati of the Scuola Normale Superiore di Pisa for his valuable insights and fruitful discussions.